Am I streaming this time?
Yeah, we've got Nick. Okay, Nick, what's going on?
Hi.
So let's get Vincent. I don't know how to get Vincent on because I've sent him the invite and said it was sending it. It says sending invite now, and then before it.
Let's see. Looks like he's.
Yeah, I'm not seeing Vincent at all. Are you?
No, I'm not. Not yet. I'm here. He says he can hear both of us. Vincent, at the top of your screen, is there a green box that says start streaming? Because mine said start streaming when I thought I was streaming, but I wasn't.
There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
What's up, guys?
What's going on? So
as soon as you said that, Nick, that a little green button said go live on air.
Okay.
And I clicked it.
Excellent. I really wish we had had a guru with us to walk us through this.
Nope, you don't. Never. You never want a guru in the room.
Never want a guru.
Okay, so hey, hang tight, guys. I'm going to push us to Facebook Live. Vincent, I don't know if you've ever done this. There's some like really wonky stuff that goes on. Like you'll hear
some background noise.
Stuff. So
okay, I'm bracing myself in the chair.
I'm going to share it over on Twitter now that we have a new link. We lost Mia. We have a new link.
Yeah, this is interesting because I haven't been on this before, except
I think you and I tested it early on, right?
Yeah. Just the two of us.
Yeah. And I've continued using it. Ivan and I have continued using it for our legal tech show.
Yeah. No, I mean I've seen it, but I haven't been on this end of it where I can see like more.
Yeah. It's been pretty solid for Christian and I. Since you got busy with Brandish and I sort of stepped in to co-host, it's been a solid platform.
Cool. Good. It was probably me. It was probably me messing it up.
No, because I was having the same thing. In that green box, it just said start streaming, but I couldn't click it. I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Then this time when I came in, it says, okay, do you want to start or stop streaming?
Go on. So from here, I can share it out, huh?
Yeah, it was really strange. I'm not sure what happened there. We are live now.
Oh, good.
We're live on Facebook. Everything seems to be working. Sorry for all the glitches that we had. We had a bunch of issues going on today. But I want to welcome everyone to Social Chatter. This is episode 70. We had a couple of glitches tonight. Sorry about that, but thanks for bearing with us. We've got some really great people on tonight. We've got, co-host Nick Rishwain. And then we've also got former co-host Vincent Orleck.
Yay.
And we got a lot of really good topics tonight to talk about, right, guys?
That's right. A lot.
We'll see.
So what direction do you want to take this? We've got, Facebook Live, we've got some Instagram stuff, and we got some Snapchat articles.
Let's start with the Facebook stuff. It's pretty big for producer or for content creators and advertisers.
So do you want to start with the live video updates?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's kick things off. So this week, lots and lots and lots of updates to Facebook Live. I'm just going to run through what each of these are. And, I guess if we want to, after each one, we can stop and kind of discuss. The first one, going live from the web. Pretty simple. On a Facebook page, you're going to have a button. It's going to be a little red button in the status box if you have this feature. And you're going to be able to then go live on your Facebook page from your desktop. I like this. What do you guys think?
Love it. I've been waiting for it.
I am super excited for it. I know, man, it was several months ago when I saw someone in one of the groups posted they had it.
Mm-hmm.
They had it. It showed up on their status update thing, and I was like, oh man, okay, this is coming. That's great. and then there was nothing. Like slowly, I think I had it on one of the pages that I manage a couple months later, so maybe like another month or so ago, but there was no official announcement, right? Until this is the actual announcement about it, is this recent Facebook update.
Yeah, I mean, it's super. Here's the crazy thing: it's super simple to do. I mean,
Yeah.
Just like going live on your mobile device, you had to go to, in this case, the Facebook app, tap on the video icon, on pages. It's the same thing. Just tap on it, start your broadcast, and you're ready to go.
Yeah.
I think the bigger question for me on this is, we've been using Huzza for a while, Nick, right? And then Vincent, we were on Blab. Do you guys see this impacting any of these services?
I would say so. If they can get the multi-person thing down, which when they initially rolled it out, was like a picture-in-picture and terrible rollout that then quickly disappeared. I think if they can get if they can get the multi-user functionality down, it will see people leaving some of these third-party apps, because I don't think I'm speaking for you guys, but you may agree that we all wanted that Blab experience back, very similar to this experience, preferably on Facebook.
Yeah. And this is honestly, like, being on this platform tonight for the first time in this fashion. Like, it's eerily reminiscent of Blab. I mean, there's some differences, sure, but it's pretty close. And then Facebook Live, they mentioned one time where they said months ago they were going to roll out multi-person or two screens on the same stream. I've yet to see that. Who knows when it's. I have a feeling that's just gonna, like, Fanzo's gonna show up with it one day.
Right.
Like, someone like that is gonna be like, boom, oh, guess what's here, right? And everyone's gonna flip out, and then everyone's gonna have it like that day or the next, and it's gonna be over. But honestly, even with that, I think they're only gonna go two people, two screens. So it depends on what you're using it for, right? I mean, I don't know any of the user numbers on Huzzah or Rabbit. I think is another one. Like, there's all these platforms. I don't know what any of the actual user numbers are, so I don't know if people are gonna leave that for the Facebook Live thing. Here's the example. My wife uses Rabbit with like a bunch of friends. This platform called Rabbit, and they're on there, like, they're just chilling. They're talking. It's not a show. It's like Blab was for a lot of other people, where they were just chilling there.
Right.
And a lot of the people from Blab, well, a number of people from Blab went to these other platforms, including Rabbit. So they're on there talking, just hanging out, making friends, and so it's a different use case. It's just a totally different use case. And if you're doing a show, like we're doing this here, we have, like, you have a guest on, you have a co-host. It's totally makes sense. But I don't know that Facebook Live is necessarily going to eat into this type of thing, because if you want to have more than two people, what do you do?
If it stays as an only a two-person platform, I have to agree with Vincent on that. And I think, given the formatting changes that we've made here in the last couple of weeks, Christian, that we would probably stick with a third-party platform like this if we can only do two people through Facebook. Now, if they roll it out in a multi-user, then it may be worth the change.
And there are a couple little things, little nuances to this. So I was thinking about this. One, this is a paid service. So, if you want to actually, like, if you want to get anything out of it, it's a paid service. You do get a download of the video afterwards, which is fantastic. In our case, we take it, we repurpose it on YouTube. So therefore, we're hitting, different, putting in a blog post as well. We're hitting different, angles there, basically. I'd love to, I think on the other side, of this is, like, we had some technical glitches tonight. We started it up. For instance, like, it wouldn't recognize my webcam. For some reason, I had to restart my whole computer to get the webcam to recognize in the browser. But hey, it worked in, like, QuickTime, right? I think at the same time, though, I mean, like, one thing that I think separates this from Facebook is it just works. People don't have to install any plugins. The average user, they literally just start it up and hey, it works. So
except when they rolled out more than one person in the stream and it just didn't work. So I imagine they had to go back to the drawing board on that and figure out how they're going to make it more usable and more user friendly. Because I don't think any, did you guys, either of you see the example of it when it came out? And it was like,
yeah, it was Kevin O'Leary, I think, wasn't it, from Shark?
I can't recall, but it looked a lot like kind of like a FaceTime where Vincent would have been in your picture, and so, and it's got to be 6 months, right, since they did that, or 4 months since they rolled that out.
It's been a while.
Yeah, summer. I think it's hard. I think it's hard for them to do. Because, and especially across talking about scaling it, having multiple streams in one stream, whatever that takes as far as coding, or if they're using the whole WebRTC, right? Isn't that the
TalkBox and WebRTC?
I mean, I know the term. I don't know everything behind it. I know that that's what's like the hot thing for people to build on for these platforms, but I have to think that if Facebook hasn't released it yet, maybe they're just waiting, because really last year was the full year one for everybody having Facebook Live even. And now you see, what is this, the second week of January? Okay, now we're coming with Facebook Live on your desktop. And then that other part might not happen till the summer. They want to kind of probably space it out, I would think.
And refine. I'm imagining there's a lot of refinement going on.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what they're going to do with this, because, I mean, if I really think about it, I mean, how many times have you been on Facebook, or I mean, the only time we really have multiple people in something is if we're doing like a Facebook Messenger conversation, right? I tried the calling feature, for instance, and I only did that with one other person. If you're using, say, Periscope, you're broadcasting yourself to multiple people, not having multiple people on. And then you really get into devices. I think devices are going to be somewhat of a limitation. Because most of the time people don't have, they don't have gobs of data, for instance, to be able to do this, first of all. And then two, like you guys said, I mean, there's just so many different logistics, I guess, that have to play into this.
Well, with the data, it's funny because you saw, however many months ago, T-Mobile lead the way on specifically for streaming, the unlimited data for streaming. And right. I don't have T-Mobile. To me, that sounds like this counts as streaming.
Right.
And it's not just Netflix.
And this counts as a lot of streaming.
Yeah. Well, so others have followed suit. I mean, they've, AT&T, Verizon, they've followed suit with this stuff. So probably Sprint, I would imagine. So it's coming where it'll just be unlimited data. They're all going to offer that in some way, shape, or form. And the streaming thing is going to be where you won't have to be on Wi-Fi. To do it, and you won't get crazy bill charges, overages, and all that. Scott had a question in there that was pretty good.
Yeah, he said, "Is this Scott McMullen's a lawyer friend of ours from Maryland?" And he said, "Is this how it's going to be moving forward? Meaning, every few months, a different platform comes out with a different video option." And Christian and I have talked about this, and I feel like even you and I may have talked about it, Vincent, that
I talked about this too. We all talked about it.
Yeah. That's been the way it's gone for the last 6 or 8 months. Oh, yeah. It's got to soon consolidate into, what's the point of starting a new one when there's 15 or 20 on the market already?
And we just talked about that the other day. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yesterday. Maybe this morning.
It may have been this morning in the three-way Facebook chat. Yeah.
Why bother? Why and the other thing too is discovery. Like I've heard a rumor that Facebook, the discovery on Facebook Live right now is not great. The whole map thing sucks, and you can't. It's like every live is not listed on that map.
Right.
And so how do you discover things? And I mean, Facebook, I know, is working on something along those lines too. So Scott, yeah, man, it's been like this. It will be like this. It'll be, especially right now. It's hot. it's the hottest thing.
And before we move on to the next topic, because I think we've covered this one significantly, I have to say that my experience is still far better and preferred on Periscope than watching on Facebook Live. In its current form, with the slow comments and slow to recognize when people are in the room and things like that, my user experience has been better watching somebody stream through Periscope.
Just because you mentioned that, Nick, so are you still using the Periscope app to watch other people, and then you may use Twitter Live to go live yourself?
Yes, one or the other. But generally, I open the Periscope app. I've got notifications set up there for specific people, and I have fewer notifications set up through Twitter. So I am generally watching native in the Periscope app for now.
Huh.
That may
until
change.
they roll that whole thing into Twitter.
And hopefully some of those who I do want to see when they go live some of that will be integrated, and I won't have to set up all new notifications. That is what I would prefer to see happen. But hopefully, that integration I'm hoping is near complete.
So I did want to make one last mention on on discovery of Facebook Live video. So I was actually on the Facebook mobile app today, and I actually got a little pop up over top of my newsfeed. I think I talked about it a couple weeks ago. It was nice because I saw one example of a Facebook Live video that I could actually join.
I get those a lot. Because if you have it set up to get notified when someone goes live, like Fox 10 here in Phoenix. Mm-hmm. They go live a lot with not news from Phoenix. It's a lot of times it's California news. It's like a car chase or something.
Yeah,
the breaking news, and that little pop up will come up. The mobile discovery is different. You're right. I'm thinking desktop. Yeah, the map sucks, but on mobile, they specifically went after that because they made its own little area, and you can see your friends and the top companies or news sources and what's happening.
Yeah,
so that's good.
So I will say and one other thing on this. The other thing I think that also is really important, and we do this, with Social Chefs, is we do events for Facebook events for every live stream. Now, granted, they're not actually Facebook live streams, but the benefit to having that is at least people know that something is going live. Like they're getting a notification if they're using the events app. If we make any changes, they're getting a notification as well. So there are ways for you as a business to be able to combat this if you're not getting viewers on your live stream. So, by the way, did you want to touch on any other, I did have one other feature that I really liked about this.
Oh, we'll go through the Facebook updates. Yeah, I'm not in a rush, just so you guys know. I don't know.
Cool. I think we started about 6:15, 6:17 tonight. So
yeah, we started.
If we close at about 7:17, I'm fine with that.
Okay. So the other really big update, I think, for Facebook Live is this new live contributor for pages mode or mode model, whatever you want to call it. I love this.
Can't wait.
Vincent, have you had a chance to look at this?
I mean, I don't have it yet, but at least I don't think so. If it's there, I haven't seen it. I can't wait.
What do we have? What do we got going on?
It'll allow people to. You won't have to make them an admin on the page in any way, shape, or form, other than to make them label them as a live contributor, meaning they can go live on the page when they want to. I mean, I can tell you last year when we did Social Media Day live, what we did for the Social Media Club was on the page. I gave 10 people admin rights on the page, and I trusted all of them, obviously, and wasn't worried about it. But it's certainly going to lend itself to that sort of a thing where you can just have all kinds. You can have user takeovers and everything. I mean, we'll talk about it, but because I want to hear what you guys think too. But I think it's bigger. I think it's the biggest thing. I think it's the biggest potential actual use case functionality of all these updates. To me, it's the most useful, the one that's going to get the most use out of all these things.
So it would be like if I wanted to, or if Christian wanted me to go live on Social Chefs, he could give me that contribution
Yeah,
ability, and then I could
that's what
go
it
live
sounds
on.
like.
Okay.
Yeah, for brands. I mean, how cool is that? Well, Starbucks, Starbucks could give all of their like a barista every day take over and go Facebook Live from a Starbucks location every day or so. Like
Yeah.
there's all kinds of obviously you'd want to review everything, but there's all kinds of possibilities. It's just like Snapchat takeovers or
Right.
Instagram takeovers, just on a much bigger scale.
Yeah, much bigger scale. That's interesting. That'll be big. That'll be big, especially for I would see this being big in influencer marketing or sponsored marketing attempts with
How
celebrities.
about this? Because we're talking about breaking news in a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think about that.
Yeah.
If you're a news station, I didn't even think about that till you just said that.
I was thinking from a news perspective, Vincent.
Yeah.
But
if you're a station, like, and you can give your reporters live contributor status, and anytime they go somewhere, boom, they can go on the pages live instead of their own.
And then imagine, for instance, like I was at a wedding recently, and we met a bunch of people who were she's like on the local news, and for example, she has her own Facebook page, but she's also affiliated with a station. In that case, she could conceivably, would think she wouldn't go on as her profile. Maybe they'll have the ability to do it with pages at some point, but right now it would be the individual being able to go live, which I think is fantastic. I could also see this being extremely useful for like a company that puts on a lot of events.
Yes.
So, for example, events, let's say you're putting on a big conference, what typically happens? You've got your whole, your executive team, they might be using it a little bit, probably not much. But then you've got, your social media manager there. You've got your other people that are, helping, say they're like managing some of the brand channels. Each one of those people could go live conceivably on the Facebook page and have, all of this like content being collected right there without having to like, let me get admin access. Let me, everything could be, I think, a lot more streamlined, at least at that point, having different,
I also see this as a way bringing in your what we're going to talk about, the breaking news shortly. I see this as a way for when you're a local station or even an affiliate, but you get somebody who's one of those constant contributors, like one of our local stations. I can contribute stories with my images or my videos. Now, what if that person happens to be traveling in an area where breaking news happens, and now the affiliate can go, hey, we know Nick's in the middle of this thing right now, let's give him access right now. Then now a local news affiliate or local station has an international reach, or I'm thinking of your Boston bombing thing, and when there's people from all over the country there, if they can give them access to the Facebook page, you're now our contributor because you're the one who's on the ground there, even before our affiliate in that area.
And it's going to be really big for people to get into like actually building relationships with those influencers. It's funny, Vincent, I was actually putting together the blog recap for tomorrow, and we haven't even talked about Snapchat for breaking news, but this just seems so awesome if they can really get all to work well together. It's not just about like, oh, let me give access to people, but they're opening the doors to actually say, hey, now we have actual like real news people, which will combat, for instance, that whole fake news story stuff that's going around, and so forth. So lots of positives all around, at least I think, on this.
Well, and I'm glad you shared that how to set it up, because I was thinking I didn't even get that far. I was thinking that it was something that would just kind of like show up as one of the options in the roles, which I think it is, but I haven't gone in there to look for it.
I don't have it yet. I can tell you that. I checked.
Yeah, but it will be. I mean, it's just like if you want to make someone an analyst on the page, it's just in that same section to give them that role. But the question I had about it, which I saw in there about the actual admins of the page being able to control the broadcast, they can end it whenever they want. So that's good. I mean, there definitely still has to be a level of trust with the people that you make as the live contributors. As much as I would love to say a news station could be like, if someone calls and they're on the scene of something and it's a person, like not a reporter. Well, that sounds awful, but reporters are people too.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's just a citizen, it's just a regular person, and they're hanging out, and like the station wants to use them because they're on the scene and they don't have reporters on the scene, they could make them a live contributor just by adding them.
Yeah.
On Facebook on the live contributor thing. But then it's like, well, how bad do we really want to cover this? Like, can we trust this person?
Yeah, so, I think there would have to be some vetting, and I think of you as that example, Vincent. You already contribute for the Fox affiliate in Phoenix. So if you happen to be in one of those areas where something was going down, then there's probably a level of trust. Like, hey, we've got a great opportunity for some really good live footage here. We already have him on our show on a regular basis. Let's give him access.
Although I will not be surprised once this kicks in. I will not be surprised when the first instance of, they shouldn't have, that person shouldn't have been.
It'll happen. It'll happen almost.
I can't wait.
And the stories will be hilarious when they happen too. I mean, some of them will.
There's gonna be mistakes too. There's gonna be ones where like someone's a live contributor, they don't know it, and they happen to go on, and it's like they're getting out of the shower. Like it's goofy stuff is gonna happen. I can totally see that
stuff's gonna happen, and some interesting stuff. But and vetting their contributors will happen soon thereafter. Yeah. If it doesn't happen before. Shall we move on to the next topic?
Yeah, I want to just add one last thing, and it's really quick. We don't have this on the Social Chefs Facebook page. We don't have, for instance, the ability to do live video from the web, nor do we have the page roles feature to be able to add somebody as a contributor for a live video. However, on my personal Facebook page, facebook.com/AskCK, I actually have both of those features now. So I'm wondering if it's actually a limit, or sorry, a fan page limit, maybe. If you've got a certain number of page likes. Because I've got both of those, and one page has over 20,000 page likes. So just something to kind of keep in mind if you don't have this yet.
Interesting.
But yeah, I'm excited about it.
What is our next story that's Facebook related here? Because there's a lot of news about Facebook this week.
Well, let's touch on this one real quick, I guess. Let's touch on the cross posting for Facebook pages, because it kind of ties into the video piece. Okay. And then we'll tie the other piece, the ads piece, into the Instagram piece that's going on today. So topic number 2 is basically Facebook has now added a cross-posting feature that you can use to allow any page to use your videos in their posts. Pretty straightforward. Basically, it's going to get, we're going to talk about relationships here. It's important because if I'm a Facebook page now, I want to have, I want to be in good standing with a number of businesses on Facebook, because I might want to limit my videos, for instance, to who can have access to them.
Yes.
This is a feature that, if you go edit your Facebook videos, you will have the cross-posting feature. This will give you, the ability within that to, to make your selections on managing that particular video that you have. So, Vincent, what do you think about this?
I don't use the cross posting feature as it is, for our clients, and I mean I just don't really use it. So I'll have to wait and kind of see like how people use it and see what it looks like.
Nick, what do you think?
I will probably be. We don't do much cross posting. There are probably some folks. Whether I'll use this on the experts homepage or the Facebook page or not, I'll have to see how it's being used. I could see using some cross posting by some trusted individuals. I might, put Mitch Jackson, something that he's putting together that might allow cross posting in that situation. But I'll have to watch and see how it works, because I feel like this could really easily turn into, well, I'm going to post this in every group that I'm included in. And I'm going to post it on every page it's given me, and it becomes more spam.
Now, but the other thing that I guess to also mention about this is it's not cross-posting. Like, it's not like setting it up between two different types of Facebook pages. You're basically selecting for your videos to allow a page to use your videos in their posts.
Interesting.
So
well, how is it now? I mean, or how has it been? Like, so they can, is it one that I can go download a video from someone else's page, download it, or just use it from the
use it.
page?
So it basically is limiting who can actually use a video.
But
So-
use it how? So like if I share the post, the video shows this is something different, like natively putting it on my page.
Do what?
Natively putting it on my page somehow.
Basically what you're doing is you're allowing a page the option to be able to like use your actual video. So kind of think of it like this. Let's use your Snapchat Facebook group that you have. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say, let's say that was a Facebook page. Okay. And let's say all you did was post about Snapchat news on that page. Okay.
Right.
If somebody could set up a competing Facebook page, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they could conceivably take all your own content that you're publishing and share it on their page. And at that point, they might, maybe they're better at building an audience. Okay. So with the cross-posting feature, you would be able to restrict that page being able to basically use your content,
Gotcha.
your videos in that case. So that way, putting it, in that perspective, it basically is a way for you to control who gets to use your videos as more and more people are creating their own videos.
Gotcha.
All right.
Okay.
I'll still have to see it in practice, I think, to see how we might use it.
And this is, but it is a little different. So if you do go into your settings menu, there is a cross-posting feature under settings on your page.
Yeah, I've seen that a million. Like when
that's specific for for instance, one page working with another page specifically to share videos across multiple pages. So
okay.
Gotcha.
Cool. So what else?
Should we talk about ads?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about some ads.
Okay.
I mean, the other Facebook stuff is like the permalink or whatever, the insights. It's
minor.
Yeah.
Minor stuff. So last year, Facebook, this comes from Marketing Land, and I think there's also a story on TechCrunch or Recode. Last year, Facebook started interrupting some live broadcasts with mid-roll video ads, and this year they plan to do the same with non-live videos. So what we're looking at is Facebook injecting mid-roll ads into some publishers' videos after those videos have played for at least 20 seconds. The video ads will be limited to 15 seconds in length. It is what several people at Facebook had told Marketing Land. Now, I think it was the article on Recode said, it says it here in Marketing Land too. This may be a reprint or republish. Facebook is reportedly incentivizing publishers to make those initial 20 seconds worth viewers' while, and provided a video runs at least 90 seconds long to be eligible to contain a mid-roll ad. Facebook will split 55% of the ad revenue with the video's publisher. Does that make sense? So,
yeah,
20 seconds. 20 seconds has to happen. You can't just put it in the first 3 seconds, which is what they were finding they would count as a video view, as if somebody watched it for 3 seconds previously. So now somebody has to watch for at least 20 seconds, and a video needs to be at least 90 seconds long in order for you to be able to be eligible for a pre-roll or a mid-roll ad. Vincent sounds really excited about this, so let's.
It sounds like what they're doing is, so if I go live on my personal page, and I do a live stream video for 2 minutes, they're gonna put an ad in the middle of it.
If you have a big enough following and there's some value to it, they might be able to put an ad there, and then you would get paid up to 55% of the ad revenue.
So is it something like YouTube where I'm going to have to agree to monetize?
It might be. I don't see that detailed in this article.
I think it would have to, right? Like maybe not. Maybe it's just in the terms of service. They'll update the terms of service and we'll all hit agree, and then it's done. Like,
Yep. That's it.
like the South Park
But-
episode, right? And then Steve Jobs is going to come for us from the grave, and
Yeah, but then they would have to also, if you hit agree, then they also have to share 55% of the ad revenue with you on those ads.
I guess it makes sense because they're thinking, depending on whatever that following is. I mean, most people, because we're talking about on personal profiles, it can happen, but your followers, not your friends, but your followers have to be a potentially certain number or something. So if someone has that many followers on their personal profile, they're probably some sort of a personality, celebrity. I don't know. I know people that I used to work with that were reps in network marketing companies that have 5,000 friends and just as many followers. So now that would be someone that would be an eligible like monetization target. And so it feels like, I don't know, it feels, how many, give it 6 months, and then how many analytics are you going to see, analytics reports that show at the 19-second mark
You lost.
It dips. There's a dip.
You lost my attention at that 19 seconds. Yeah, that's a great question.
We'll see.
Unless you get really creative, like doing a Snapchat ad where there's only a 10-second ad, and you get all your great information in that 10-second video, and let them, and then just and fill it with filler after that, and let them roll all the ads that they want. You might have to get creative.
Oh,
so
yeah.
What do you guys? So what do you guys think about this? But do you guys like the idea of this? Because I'm like sitting here, I'm reading through some of this article, and like, BuzzFeed, for instance, was complaining they weren't making any money from Facebook videos. Honestly, I don't care if BuzzFeed makes any money from their videos. Like, then they're talking about like, oh, sports leagues, for instance, have been hesitant to, put their content on, sports leagues and putting valuable content on the network. Like, again, I don't care. You know why I don't care? Because it's not about like ads. It's about you having high quality content that people want to see. Like, if people can go somewhere else and get that content, why should you, like, just because you can't make any money, like, you need to like look at, you talked about this earlier, Vincent, like, this is essentially a show. Like, we took the Huzza platform and we turned it into a show. Like, some people use it and said, hey, like, let's just have it as a place to like talk amongst ourselves. So in this case, like, I'm glad that like I'm glad that they're potentially adding an ad feature to this. But people are really getting tired of ads. Like, everything is becoming about ads. I mean, but really, if you want to get around all that, you don't have to deal with the ads piece. Just create good content. Have an engaging page. Have a place that people like. They think of like sports, and they're like, hey, I want to go look at the NFL channels. Like, don't do dumb things. Like,
yeah, I can see some of that. I also see, I think where Facebook is going with this is they'd like to have shows, and then they'd like to sell that ad space just like normal TV would. Which, for me, that was one of the reasons to cut the cord. Maybe that will be one of the reasons that I stopped watching Facebook Live. Who knows? It'll be
maybe what they do though, Nick, is they eventually, the long-term plan is to make it look like, oh shoot, not Netflix, not Amazon, Hulu. Like Hulu, there's ads, but if you pay $7 a month,
right.
yeah.
That wouldn't go over, Vincent. There are too many Facebook hoaxes that came out.
No, I'm just saying, like, if that's the case, like, I could totally, if they explain, if it was explained that way, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna have these ads, but then 2 years from now, and there's actual programming on Facebook because it's moving down that road of becoming like a publisher, a network, if you will.
Right.
Do they then say, hey, subscribe for $1 a month, 1.5 billion users? That's a quick, 750 million at least.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I don't like.
a month.
I love the idea, by the way, of having this whole like, I love the idea of having this whole like, for you being able to like take 55% of like sales basically from an ad. I love the idea of that, just like YouTube, it just comes back to like, I think the way this is going to probably head actually is I think, they've added the shopping piece to Facebook pages. So if I'm pushing a business, encouraging them to use Facebook Live on a page, I think that, maybe they'll do the ads, but I think really the business can make more money, if they're doing it right, have some products that they can sell, whether it is, as Nick mentioned, a membership, whether it's a physical product, whatever, like there are plenty of opportunities, I think, to make money. So.
Interesting. So I feel like we can skip the Instagram pre-roll or mid-roll ads, right? Because I feel like it's the same story.
Same thing.
Same story. If it was applying to Facebook, it's applying to Instagram, is what we've seen. So should we move into Snapchat since we got about 20 minutes left here?
Works for me. Which one do you want to talk about first? Breaking news or the universal search? Or
well, I think we'll end with breaking news since we have Mr. Breaking News with us. So how about some universal search?
Yeah, let's talk about universal search. So this literally just came out, I think, like hour and a half ago, almost 2 hours now. Yeah. Nick, Vincent, who wants to start off on this one?
Go for it, Vincent.
Oh, great. Well, from what I read, when I heard about it, when you guys sent it to me, I hadn't heard about it yet. And so I saw like the little video that they showed, the example. It makes sense now why they took groups and gave the ability to do groups. So basically, you're gonna be able to search Snapchat. It couldn't be more accurately named. It's universal search. You're going to be able to search for people. New, like anything. It's going to search in the Discover section. It's going to search your friends. From what it looks like if you want to find someone, and they're on Snapchat, like go follow your favorite celebrities or brands, which I don't know, people are really doing that, but what we've all been kind of clamoring about for 2 years now in the marketing world, discoverability, is here. I mean, that's the impression I got from this. I think I was looking at it right, but if you guys, I might be off. I don't know, because I only looked at it pretty quickly, but it seemed like that was the case.
Again, it was kind of we found out about it last minute because it was really released just an hour before we located the article. So I think you summed it up. It does seem to be a discoverability issue, but you can find groups, you can find brands, you can find stories, you can find friends or celebrities. It seems to be universal, as it is called universal search. It seems to be that you can locate a lot of information in a hurry.
Which has always been the problem on Snapchat.
Yep.
That's always been the thing. It's like, well, and it was by design though too.
Yes.
In Snapchat, more and more it's come up how Snapchat, they're really smart. Okay, don't get it twisted. Everyone that's talking about Snapchat this and that, blah blah blah, these guys are smart. Mm-hmm. Just like Facebook was smart they're still smart, but in the beginning they were very smart also. But they had to, because they were the first, they had to learn trial and error. Mm-hmm. They at the beginning they let affiliate marketing happen on Facebook, and then they got rid of it. They made it, no, you can't do that. But they made a bunch of ad money and a bunch of revenue off the affiliate marketers in the first few years, and then they got rid of it. Snapchat has had the luxury of their founder, their whatever team is in charge, they've grown up, they've come up with these platforms and seen how things have been done and how the businesses have come and gone. So they have a plan. Like I no one can tell me any different that 2 years ago they didn't know, okay, beginning of 2017, targeting for like full discoverability. This is what we're going for.
Right.
The groups thing, like we just said, the groups just happened like a couple months ago. So that gave time for people to create their groups, do their thing. Now they go in and, oh, I'm going to see my groups in there. I want to add more groups. I want more. People use groups on Facebook all the time. And that's the hugest thing on Facebook.
Mm-hmm. And that's such an untapped potential. Like nobody, like I think I talked about this a couple of years ago. Like nobody was using groups. Like it's a huge untapped market. Like on Facebook, on Snapchat, like on all of these different services. I mean, it gets you out of the monotony of following a single brand. Like actually, connects you with people. I mean, which is really what it's most important there.
And when I want to find a group that I belong to on Snapchat now, mm-hmm. I have to go over to my messages and do the search bar on the messages side, or on the chat side, excuse me, not messages.
It's not easy to find.
So I have to search there and find because otherwise I got to scroll through everything to find what group I created. So if I don't do it that way, so now it looks like I will be able to do this from any page that I'm on.
Yeah.
Which I think this is a benefit. I think this is good. Discoverability is an issue. Now, some of us who do different types of content on Snapchat than others may not want to be discovered as easily. That's one of the nice things about Snapchat, is not being able to be discovered all that easily. That's going to be a settings thing, that you approve all your friends. You approve only your friends get to watch your content, or so forth. So people will have to watch for that as well. Yeah,
but I mean, ultimately, they had to get to the point of, it was super personal up until now, and like at a certain point though, 200 million users, if they want to grow, you have to do these things along these lines to be able to find people and do things. And now that argument can't be made, assuming this all works correctly and how we're assuming, even though we haven't seen it yet, mm-hmm. If I want to find someone, how do you find me? It used to be, oh, well, here's this URL you can click on. Here's my ghost code. Do nearby, which I don't think I've ever added anyone using the find nearby people, because it never seemed to work. For me anyway. So it was, or by username, or your friends and your contacts. So that was really the key. It started with, it was a very friend-based thing, extremely, even more so than Facebook, even more so.
Incredibly.
You had to have their contact information or know their username, and to get their username normally, unless you're like a lot of us goofballs, right, that are putting our ghost codes in our profile pictures until Facebook kicks it out.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That was one way to hack it. That was a growth hack. But now it's great. It's so funny that I just got that notification about Facebook telling me I had to remove my snap code as my profile photo on my business page. And that was like we said, a growth hack for people to find me.
Mm-hmm.
And now this is like, well, okay, we don't even need that anymore.
We don't need it. And maybe there's a little insider information happening between the two companies there that made them say, we got to cut this off.
I can't wait for the movie in like 5 years or 3 years, or book that comes out from someone about the whole like Snapchat versus Facebook war. Yeah. It's been going on since 2012, since they tried to buy them.
And my thought with this universal search that I also mentioned in the chat, and it'd be interesting to see what you guys say, but they're talking about an IPO in 2017, or at least the market is talking about that. And as we've seen with Twitter, the reason that their stock still continues to suffer, the main reason that I keep seeing, is the monthly active user growth. That's what everybody seems to look at, and this seems to be how Snapchat is going to try and increase from that 200 million monthly active users to the next number.
And by the way, just one question, one thing I also noticed about this whole universal Snapchat universal search. So if you look at any of the screenshots that are there, so like they're tying into your Bitmoji, for example. Okay, so because
like an avatar, yeah.
So I like the fact they're doing that. It encourages people to, hey, be yourself, create your own personal Bitmoji. But I also noticed that like snap codes, for instance, have basically gone away. If you look at any of those, screenshots, any of the videos and whatnot, everything is focusing on the Bitmoji aspect.
Well, keep in mind too, on Snapchat, on the screenshots, they have the Bitmojis. We'll see if they actually are going to use those, or if they just needed to use those like literally for the screenshots because they couldn't use people's pictures or something. But the snap codes weren't in those spots anyway, because if you don't need their snap code, if you're in there looking at these spots, they're already your friends. So you don't need their snap codes to show up. You just need their picture.
Just wondering, just an observation. That's all.
Yeah.
Excellent. And with about 10 minutes left, should we get to
Snapchat
our last story?
Yeah, let's talk about this. So Vincent wrote an article on, Snapchat, like, can it be used for breaking news? I'm going to let Vincent lead this one, because he wrote the article. I've got my opinion on it. Nick, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anybody saw it on like TechCrunch or Recode. Got pretty good visibility, guys. They took it down after like a minute, but it was there. I just put up a thing on Medium. Honestly, I felt kind of bad. I felt kind of bad writing it. I literally wrote that like a few minutes after the whole like airport shooting happened, and I was like, this is kind of tacky to post this right now. Not that anyone's even seeing it, but it just felt like, let me just wait a little bit. So I waited a little bit and then threw it up there. But it was just, I don't know. I just, every time something like these types of situations happen, and it usually is some sort of tragedy. It's crowdsourcing the news. Like I was saying to you guys, like it's true crowdsourcing of the news. So the airport shooting, the most recent example is the airport shooting in Fort Lauderdale just happened. And what Snapchat has typically done with breaking news, it's labeled that too in there. When you go in the discovery section, there'll be a section, its own piece labeled breaking news, and it'll say like the description of what it is, Fort Lauderdale or something. And what they have the ability to pull snaps from anywhere on the platform, anywhere. So whatever they're using, geo filtering and grabbing things from like literally inside the airport, people that the snaps are chilling and so like in touch and real, like you're there for better or worse. And for me, I mean, I think that's just the next step of news, because of breaking news, because people want that. People, they stop and look at accidents on the road. They watch NASCAR for a car crash. Like that, people, if it bleeds, it leads.
Yep.
And not getting political, but Trump. So anyway, it's an attraction. Like people want to see this stuff happening, and if they can be there almost real time, which is what this is. This is like a couple hours later. The Snapchat puts up this series of snaps, and it's all different people, all the different experiences happening in different places. So there's snaps from people on the road, waiting in their car outside the airport because the police are there, blocking the road. There's people inside the terminal. There's like people running. There's people crouching down, and the incredible thing is people are snapping. They're snapping it. They're not taking out their phone and hitting the video record button. I'm sure some people probably did that, but the Snapchat is just so easy to use. You just boom, boom, and it's going.
And it's a 10-second clip, as opposed to how many times have you seen somebody record this whole event in a 5-minute video, and you didn't need to see anything past the 10 seconds, right? I mean,
it's going out to your connections too.
And chances are, when somebody recorded that video, they probably didn't even post it. They probably just recorded it, and it's probably sitting on their camera roll somewhere. So
yeah. And this is just naturally, it's out there. It's all these different angles, different angles of what's going on, and it's really powerful.
It is. I have to agree with you. When I saw it, I think you tagged me in it on Twitter, or I saw it on Twitter, and I shared it almost immediately upon reading it, because I thought,
thank you.
Because I thought this is it. It gives you in the images that you provided in the article are really good because it gives you a full experience of what people were going through that day, for good or bad. That's what it gives you. It gives you from those outside the airport, those inside, those still hunkered down in a position.
In the planes, there was that.
So it gives you a much bigger image, or a much better, or almost augmented reality experience of what took place this day than you get from the reporter who's standing outside with a gate filming just the airport or something.
Well, and also the reporter's not going to be there on time. In that situation, they're not even going to get let in.
By the time I read about it, I rarely, I don't turn on local stations anymore. I know I'm not the only one who does it, because I've already seen it by the time I've gotten home.
Mm-hmm.
Or I've already, because it's on Twitter or it's on Snapchat or any of the other platforms that I have running at one point or another throughout the day, or if I'm at lunch, I'm looking at it on my phone, or however that works. It's there. I'm done. There's nothing more they can contribute. This is a problem for your not just local but national news services. But the time is come where they need to embrace these things or bring in those contributors, like we talked about with the Facebook feeds, because I don't need to watch what they have to say. Their commentary has added nothing to the story by the time I've seen it.
Absolutely. It's funny. In a way, like anybody who's like a news reporter, essentially, they're non-essential, actually.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, they're not adding anything of value. They're like, it's stuff that like you've already seen. You've already got pieces of it on Facebook, pieces of it on Snapchat.
If it's a massively fluid event, they may add something to it. When it was done as quickly as this was done, then chances are there's not much that they can add for my story, to the story, by the time I get home and turn on the news. If it's a major event with an ongoing investigation or something to that effect, then maybe there's something that a news person can add to that. There may be some commentary, there may be some sources that they're talking to. If it's a major national news issue, then but when it's over as quickly as this one was done, and I see what Vincent wrote in his article with all these images, I get a pretty good view of what happened. I know what happened to the victims. I have already read about what happened to the perpetrator, and there's not much that news can add to that because I've seen it all in near real time.
So,
and I've seen this with Periscope as well.
Yeah.
I have
with Twitter, Instagram even. I mean, I remember couple years back, like when that plane in San Francisco at the airport like skidded off the runway, I think. I remember seeing Twitter and Instagram at the time, not Snapchat. I wasn't really using Snapchat much then, but I don't think they even had that ability. You'd have to be following someone that's on the but Instagram, there was some real time stuff going on from like the tarmac. It's funny that the one thing I wanted to add more is that I used to work in a news station, a TV station. I interned at one for like a couple of years, and you don't realize like these local stations, they get these feeds sent to them by the national affiliates, because the local stations, if something's happening, they like upload all the content that they filmed. Like if there was a murder or whatever happened in their town, like in Phoenix, they upload it, and then it's like available for the whole network of affiliates if they need stories.
Okay.
So that's how we're seeing, they'll do like a 2-minute segment of like 4 different 30-second stories from around the nation. They'll get that stuff in, they kind of pick and choose from it, right? So it's, in a sense, they were doing this. It's just they were network affiliated. They were network sourcing the news, I guess, crowdsourcing it through the networks, the local networks. And now, like I was saying to Scott in the comments, will this kill the news stations? That the smart ones, no. Like if the smart ones, if they pick this up and run with it with the live video and stuff. The reason I keep bringing up Fox 10 is because they are, like here in Phoenix, they are using live video, like testing stuff and doing different things. And it's really interesting to see. But all the other channels really aren't the local ones.
Mm-hmm.
So there's there's a lot of opportunity. There's a
Wow.
ton of opportunity, and I don't know what it'll look like in another 2 years. I don't
think
know.
it's going to be very fast-paced content delivery on your local news station, because unless it's a heartwarming story, a local story that they're covering that really, or an issue that they need to go in more depth in with these types of incidents, these breaking news incidents. By the time I get to the local news at night, I don't need them at that point. So I think they need to embrace this stuff.
Well, and the one thing that when I worked there, I noticed, and it's like even then, this is a lot of years ago too. And now it's even more so local news. So who watches the local news? Like literally, who's watching it? The demographics. It's an older demographic.
Right.
The 6 o'clock news, like really, they're talking about all the stuff that happened hours and hours and hours ago that everybody already knows about.
Yeah.
So what are they adding to it? Just like you said, they're taking, most of them, if not all of them, are taking the total wrong approach right now. They're going for, they're all the same. They're reporting national plus the big local. The 2.5 minutes that the sports guy gets, he's talking about like the big events, sports events, and like maybe 20 seconds for the local team, high school or college or whatever. I just, the local news, they're crazy right now.
Mm-hmm.
Why they are not specifically focusing on just local and doing not a minute on what happened, like do like 3 different 3-minute stories, packages on specific things, and go that route, and you have to offer something different for people to actually want to pay attention. The first station that does that, like, here's our new format.
And most of them have already reported it on their website.
Right.
When we had a levee break, because we had a lot of rain around here the last few days, and when a levee breaks, it floods orchard space. And I saw that in a 2-minute video at the office. I don't need to watch it, and that was on the local affiliate station. I don't need to watch it again in the evening. Christian, what are your thoughts?
So I think that, by the way, I kind of wanted to tie spectacles into this whole thing.
Okay.
So I think from a breaking news standpoint, I definitely think like the news stations, I think they need to start changing. It was actually, when we talked about this earlier, I was thinking about the whole local news aspect, that it needs to go from being like anything that's national, like essentially make all these reporters like, local, like just local news experts, basically, cut out all the other stuff, because there's no sense in sending them to a location where they sit outside. Hey, we're waiting outside, for whatever to happen. Like you have all those stories already inside, captured, for instance, by Snapchat. Now, so here's what I actually think is actually going to happen with this whole breaking news thing. By the way, Vincent, 100% agree with you that Snapchat is going, Snapchat and very likely Facebook, Facebook Live are going to definitely change how news is reported. My tie-in for Snapchat, spectacles. I think that, what's going to happen, actually, I think this is going to be probably a 2017 thing, at least start it. I think that spectacles are going to go mainstream. Okay. I think that Snapchat is going to become a breaking news site. I think it's going to get out of all the other stuff that it's doing. I think from a breaking news standpoint, it makes a lot of sense. Hey, we have spectacles. What's the point of those right now? Well, hey, let's take them and let's do a little rebranding. Let's show people how easy it is to use our services. Let's start breaking news, for instance, with this. They have the whole, the rounded videos, for instance, that they're doing, right? Out of spectacles. That's going to give them, I think, a leg up from competition, because people see rounded video and they're like, hey, Snapchat spectacles versus, was that a Facebook video? Was that an Instagram video? What was that? So I think that what we're going to see is spectacles are going to basically become the capture medium, I think, encouraging people to use that. It will go into the whole point you all made earlier about the fact that people will become news, essentially they will become the reporters, the person who's at the event. It will then encourage the business, the brand, whatever, to actually get to know who some of those people are, to build those relationships with those individuals. And then those people basically will become your content, producers in a way. your on the your eyes and your ears. That's what I think is going to happen actually with all this. So
go ahead, Nick.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say two quick things about that. I agree with one and don't totally agree with the other. What you said, Christian, but that's cool because that's why we're here talking. The spectacles part, I just don't know unless the price point comes down. They're not like Google Glass, $1,100, and you can only they're limited, exclusive. Everybody can get them, but they're still like what 140, somewhere around there. They are limited in the sense of you can't buy them online or anything. Right. Whether that changes or not, I wouldn't be surprised either way if you can only get them in New York or maybe New York and LA. There's 2 stores, maybe one in Miami, Chicago. Like there'd be like the Apple stores when they first started, maybe, right? So that's a barrier right now in terms of users,
right?
But eventually, maybe it could grow and the price point comes down and all that. The other part is I do agree with the potential for the breaking news kind of portion of it maybe becoming its own thing, because they have a dedication to news specifically and have had it for the last 2 years with a news division.
Right.
With a news division. So with a pretty well-known guy, and they've done some really cool things like during the election campaign. They were pretty even, like both ways. Like they might have had a little slant, but they were more going for the, hey, let's talk about politics to millennials and to Gen Z. It wasn't even so much of a slant in the sense of one left or right. It was more like this is how you got to talk about it to them, to the kids. So I love their approach to it, that they have a news division.
Right.
They're producing these big, like they're few and far between, it feels like, but when they come out, like I watch them every time. I don't know, again, I have no idea what numbers look like on that stuff, but it must be worth their time. But the news aspect of it is huge. And I could see the spectacles growing to be that, and similar to the live contributor thing on Facebook. The spectacles, maybe they can, like, you hook them up to your app, and then Snapchat can be like, oh, whoever's in this geofence has spectacles, and we can turn it on.
You could do that. Or actually, you kind of gave me an idea. So you said, hey, like the price point needs to come down on spectacles. I don't really think they're that expensive from a camera perspective for what you get.
Right.
But I think that knowing that they have that news division, conceivably, probably what they could do is say, hey, you know what? We've got these people that are in charge of this division, have them, monitoring, individuals, and then maybe give them spectacles, as like almost like an incentive to encourage them to, to really be more active on Snapchat, and capture some of those different, maybe use that geo-targeting, but give them, the camera that they want them to use. So, again,
the only thing with the price point, the reason I bring that up is because you're asking someone to go and buy something that they don't necessarily need. It's definitely because we have this.
Yeah.
We can already do Snap with this, fine. And this was, several $100s technically. So I've already invested in that.
Right.
The people that are going to get the spectacles are the early adopters, the people that, are just super into Snapchat and have to have them, or fashion, the new hot thing. I mean, that's what they want. I mean, they designed a rollout for a specific reason. They picked like the Grand Canyon as a place to stick a machine, a vending machine. Trying to think of some of the other, like the beach in Santa Monica on the pier. These scenic places that, people are going to use them, and other people are going to see these awesome snaps because they're in awesome places.
I will say that I agree with Christian to the point of I mentioned this before, when that Snap camera is smaller and I can put it on my already existing glasses, when it's just the camera and I don't need the whole attachment, that will revolutionize the first person camera experience, I think.
Would you do that though? Or would you feel too much like out of place wearing a camera on your glasses? And then we're getting into the whole like Google Glass. That was one of the arguments about, well, people can be looking at you and recording you. You know?
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I think that's maybe why they've introduced them the way that they have, to slowly get people used to the idea of this. And they've made it abundantly clear that they're a camera company. So I can only imagine the cameras will get smaller and more.
There he is.
There it is.
I want to say this though. Like, okay, so when I got these,
take some snaps now so we can see them.
By the way, so I want to say when I got these, I think that like I tried Google Glass when it was out, and I had a lot of people asking about that. You know, people were really not like they weren't comfortable with it. But with these, like I wore these all around New York when I got them, and people like were asking questions. Like I was recording, and nobody seemed to have any issues with it. You know, I did feel a little weird, like in a couple of situations. You know, like, well, I mean, you were, you know, you're on the subway
at the strip club, Christian.
You know, you're on the subway, and you know, you have like maybe someone who's not, you know, not the same generation, you know, and they're like, you know, well, somebody mentions camera, and the person's like, well, what? Oh, I don't want to be recorded, you know, but it ended up being a good situation because people were like, hey, you know, what are those? Are those the spectacles? You know, and it was a great opportunity to give somebody a demo, you know, and to talk about them. So I think that people are getting more comfortable with having these in the public.
Well, it's funny because that Google Glass was 2012.
Yeah.
So in 4 years, there's definitely been a shift in what people are used to.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know if it's that they're okay with it. I think it's just more that they're used to people sticking their phones up and taking pictures. And it's just an extension of that.
Yeah. And didn't Google Glass do more than just take pictures?
Oh yeah,
like it,
you could do the video calls. Yeah, you could do video calls like FaceTime
as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So it was a pretty advanced prototype, and
it was amazing.
Yeah, but
it was weird, but it was very powerful. Like as far as what
and I feel like Snap is going at it in a much simpler. We're taking pictures and video. That's it. Okay. Mm-hmm. People are doing that already.
Yeah.
Well, even if they've even positioned the glasses, the spectacles when they came out, like in the stories, the press release almost, but definitely the way the CEO of Snapchat was talking about it was positioning it as a toy.
Right.
Literally, he used that word, and he was like, well, no, it's a fun thing. It's a toy. It's not, you know, marketers are not, he's not meaning for marketers to be like, oh yeah, you know, take these and go do branding. Like,
where you got the real Minority Report feeling from the Google Glass. You got that whole Minority Report sort of, they're going to be selling me ads anytime I walk by a store type of thing. They rolled it out in a different fashion to probably avoid much of that.
Yeah.
So I want to. So I just want to mention, like, I'm going to mention. Do I have time for like 2 tools, Nick?
Yeah, let's do 2 tools and wrap it up.
The 2 tools, and then we're going to wrap this up. So, okay. So tool number 1 is a tool called Stash. But by the way, Vincent will do our thanks and whatnot at the end for having you on the show tonight. By the way, to talk about Snapchat breaking news.
No thanks needed.
So tool number 1, Stash. Now, this is a smart bookmarking tool. Very similar to Pocket, for instance.
I was talking, my nose literally ran. Anyway,
Pocket, Evernote, you know, where you can basically, you know, clip stuff from around the web. But I think what makes Stash really unique is that it actually will categorize your stuff for you. So, you know, if you're clipping, for instance, you know, articles, for instance, it'll put them into articles, and then you can apply tags. If you clip something from, like, say, Google Maps or a social media channel or a video, that will also get classified accordingly as well. And to me, that's actually a really good, a really smart thing to have, I think. You know, we spend too much time searching for different places. Like, oh, is it in, you know, Evernote? Is it in iMessage? Is it in, you know, my bookmarks? You know, did I take a screenshot? Like, you know, so I think it's a, you know, good centralized place for, you know, anyone who's clipping anything, whether it's, you know, in this case, clipping ideas or, research that we find for Social Chatter, or clipping, ideas for like articles or stuff for your business. Hey, you want some graphic design ideas, having everything in one place, I think, and making it easily searchable and sortable, I think is really good. So that's tool number 1 for today. Have you guys had a chance to play with this yet?
I have not.
How about you, Nick? Any chance? Any opportunity yet? No. Okay.
I muted myself on accident on purpose, but I forgot to turn it back on. Can you put that link down in the chat here so I can share it over? I accidentally closed out Evernote.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
I did accidentally do.
Okay, so here's Stash, and I'll give you the first one. This is the desktop one. I would start with that one because you can kind of see what all there and try it out. So just
right.
That you got what you need. Second tool I want to mention for tonight, and these aren't really like, wouldn't say they're like social media tools, but they're tools for you as a business, like that can help with different aspects. So for example, if you're using Stash, you're like, hey, I want to save some posts. That's a great feature to have everything in one place, whether it's tweets or Facebook posts or YouTube videos, and so forth. Second tool is probably one of my favorite tools. I use this every single day. It's called TextExpander. What it is in a nutshell, you basically set up like, how many times do you have to type out your email address, your personal email address or your business email address. What this does is it basically is a place for you to type all of your information, so your email addresses, and you give them an abbreviation. And then whenever you're using something on, say, your laptop, and you want to type your email address, all you do is type that abbreviation that you've used, and it will put your email address in.
Oh, nice.
I use it, for instance, for like, first name, business and personal email addresses. I also have it set up, for instance, for my wife, so it's easy to type her email address. But also, I even use it for more advanced things, like I use it for the show. Every week we have, 3 topics, we have tools, we have a link to next week's show, we have a subscribe link. I have all of that stuff already typed up once. So whenever I need to recreate a note for the next show, all I do is open up a new note in Evernote, type my abbreviation, and boom, I have everything in one place. Nice. So it also syncs across your mobile device, by the way, with their app.
I do like this one. I may have to play with this one some more.
Vincent, what do you think? Have you used it?
Sounds useful.
Do it.
Sounds useful.
It is.
I just don't know. I don't know if in my honestly, it's tough for me to. Like, I could probably count on one hand out of all the things that we talked about, even on the show last year.
Yeah,
I'll still have. I think I just cleared out some of the apps from my phone, because I would use them, and I would use them at first, and it was like it's just the typical kind of app story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'd use it and think it was cool, and but it's not in my regular routine.
Sure.
And as cool as something may be, the one that's stuck. That I remember we talked about is Prisma.
Mm-hmm.
Like Prisma, that app. Like I just now recently started using it a couple weeks ago and finding uses for it. But it's been on my phone for like 6 months, like just sitting there.
Yeah.
So it's tough. It's tough to break in. App development. We have a client that is she's building an app. She's got a really good app idea. But we'll see. We'll see. As the app could be great, and then gets downloaded, someone uses it once, and they're on to the next one,
Christian is really great with the tools. I am not, because it's a matter of app fatigue for me. It's a matter of how much time will it save me? Will I remember that I have it, and will I play around with it enough to get to the expert level that I think I need to be at to make these things happen fast. And 9 times out of 10, I say, all right, I'm not going to use it. I'm not even going to bother downloading it because I know I won't use it. And that's where I find myself most of the time. If it's something that I'm doing over and over regularly, and I need to find, that's why this TextExpander sounds like something that I may need to put into use. Because it does seem like it's one of those things you do enough that it could be useful to especially if there's the crossover between phone and desktop.
And by the way, there are some beyond just like typing like snippets out. Like you can also use it, for instance, for social media links. But I also find it very useful, for instance, if I craft an email every month and I have to, like, let's just say I email a certain person, I have a certain subject, and I want what the current month is and then a message. You literally can set all that stuff up in TextExpander, and it will basically go get, okay, what's the current month? And it'll populate everything in your email literally. So you don't have to do anything. So it's, saves you some time if you use that stuff. But like you said, like you said, Vincent, different strokes for different folks. It depends on, if you.
I love testing them out though, dude. Like all the ones that you come up with and like other things I've seen. I'm a big follower. I like daily. I look at Product Hunt.
Mm-hmm.
I have an extension on Chrome that when I open up Chrome, a new tab, it pulls up the latest Product Hunt
nice
things. So like I have to stop myself from looking at stuff.
Right.
Because I want to see like it's all cool and I want to like see like, oh yeah, like the whole FOMO thing and shiny new things. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but you got to control it.
Yeah.
That's all. I'm a big fan of trying out new things and seeing if they can help in some way, shape, or form.
Excellent.
So that's all the tools I have. Well, I have one more tool, but that'll actually be in the blog recap that'll go out next week, or tomorrow actually. Sorry.
Cool.
I want to say, Vincent, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I love talking about Snapchat breaking news.
It's fun.
I think that it's going to be, I think that's going to be a bit of a game changer for them. Facebook's not going to. I mean, Facebook's not really going to know how to compete with that. You think, unless
Well, they can steal a Snapchat idea.
They could. I mean, who knows? They could create a whole section of breaking news on the Facebook platform somehow. Like when something happens, they could pull if there's live stream feeds.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? It's a little different because you need a better connection. Whereas Snapchat, you can boom, 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 and even if you don't have a connection, you can upload them when you have the connection. So I don't know. It's the Wild West. Like this definitely feels like when I don't know, 2000, 2001. When all this stuff was kind of popping off. No one knew necessarily what was going to happen internet-wise, not social media-wise, but like all this new stuff was constantly coming out.
Yep.
Is there a bubble right now with this? I don't know. Like
there's overload actually.
Yeah, for sure there is overload, but how do you handle it? How do you manage to get through that minefield of all these different things that are coming out?
Yeah,
well, guys, I think I'm going to have to back out of here tonight. Do you want to wrap us up here, Christian?
Definitely. And by the way, Nick, thanks for joining. I know you were feeling under the weather, so get better. Hopefully new meds and whatnot are good.
Thanks, Nick. Hope those meds kick in, buddy. Put your beanie on. Cover your head.
I'm going to have to.
Don't you know all that heat escapes through your head? Come on.
It is. It's all escaping.
Well, I want to say thanks a lot, Nick, for sticking with us. Vincent, thanks a lot for joining.
Thanks for having me.
Join next week's show. Here's a show link for that. We should have this little technical glitch fixed. We'll also be live on facebook.com/socialchefs. And if you want to join the email list, socialchefs.com/subscribe. And that'll get you on the daily email and we'll send you the blog recap and so forth. So with that, I want to wish everyone a good night. Have a great weekend. And we will see you all next week.
Thanks again. Thanks, Vincent. Have a good one, guys. Night.
Night.